Gemini rising. So our rising sign is the filter that we use to project who we are, our sun, and how we feel, our moon. So when you have a Gemini rising, the way that you project yourself will have a Gemini flavor to it. And these are some Gemini traits. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, the planet of the mind, communication, and learning. Mercury and Gemini share a lot of common traits like curiosity, always needing to move around, and neither one of them can stay attached to anything for too long because they're so easily distracted. Gemini is chatty, intellectual, and needs constant communication. It makes friends super easy, and Gemini does not know the meaning of the word stranger. Gemini fears social isolation and no one to talk to. But because Gemini is so resourceful, if you stay quiet long enough and listen, you'll hear Gemini will just start talking to themselves. Gemini, like Sagittarius, belongs to the mutable family. And mutable energy is flexible and adaptable. And like Sag, Gemini needs a lot of variety in their life. They're adaptable to anything new, hate being bored or trapped in routine. They will do anything to get out of these types of situations. Gemini is an air sign, and air is social and intellectual energy. This is why Gemini lives in their head versus their emotions. They tend to rationalize everything. If it doesn't make logical sense, it can be difficult for Gemini to understand it, which is another reason why Gemini has difficulty dealing with emotion, because often emotions don't make logical sense. Gemini is a quick learner, skilled at speaking, great negotiators, usually needs to have the last word, and can literally think themselves out of any situation, which is why you always want to have a Gemini on your team, because they can come up with some pretty great ideas in some pretty sticky situations. But just because you have a Gemini rising doesn't mean that you're going to experience it in the way that I've just described. You need to look at Gemini's planetary ruler Mercury in your birth chart to see how it's conditioned. Whatever sign Mercury is wearing, the house that guy lives in, and the aspects he makes to other planets in your birth chart will describe how your Gemini rising functions. For example, if this Mercury were in an earth sign, then this Gemini rising would be more of a planner, have less need for variety, more difficulty adapting to change, more on the reserve side, and less chatty. On the other hand, if Mercury is in Gemini, the sign that it rules, Gemini energy would be 2 times the strength. This Gemini rising would be socially all over the map, debate everything, and talk forever and ever and ever with no silence in sight. If you have a Gemini rising, tell me your story. I want to know.